Hello! I'm here today to tell you guys a little bit about a surgery that I recently had. It was a septoplasty on my nose, and going into it I didn't really know a whole lot about the surgery or what to expect, so I looked up some videos on YouTube about it, and there were some that sort of explained it, but they didn't really explain it in the amount of detail that I would have liked. So basically I'm just going to be telling you about my experience in more detail than the other videos that I found online. I had it about a little over a month ago. So I still remember the experience pretty vividly, and I'm still recovering. It's still a little bit swollen up in there, but for the most part it looks like it's back to normal. It's just a little swollen on the inside, so it's still a little bit hard to breathe. I'll go ahead and start back where all of my nose problems started, when I was a wee lass of about 5 or 6 years old, and I was jumping on the couch in my sunroom. I was in there with my brother, who was about 3 years older than me, so he was about 8 or 9 at the time, and he always wanted to be my dad. Always acted like my father, but the time I needed him to be my father, he just took that opportunity to not act as my father and tell me to stop jumping on the couch. And so I was continually jumping up and down, and I don't really remember what happened, but anyway, at some point I guess my foot got caught on a cushion, or I just tripped, I don't know. Anyway, face planted right into the floor. So of course your nose protrudes the farthest on your face. So that's what broke my fall. Broke it. Big surprise there. I remember just like laying, like you could hear it, like, and then I remember just like laying in the floor in a pool of my own blood for a little while before my mom came in, took me to the hospital, told me I broke it, and told me that I was gonna need surgery on it in the future. So when I was 12, my mom and dad were trying to get me to have a surgery, but when I went to the doctor, they like showed me this in-depth video on what the surgery was like. I'm a 12-year-old. I do not want to see that. So it freaked me out. My parents decided, because I was so freaked out, that I didn't have to do the surgery because the doctor already said 12 wasn't the best age to do it. They were just trying to get it over with. So they let me wait until I was 18. Fast forward to now. So that's why this summer my parents had me get it before I go off to college. So before I explain the surgery, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you what exactly was wrong with my nose. I had a deviated septum. You have like a thing going up your nose like this, and basically it's supposed to be a straight line up, and what happened was mine, when I broke it, it went like that. And so it like blocks most of my left nostril. So I couldn't really breathe out of my nostril. And because I have really bad allergies most of the time, like it's not seasonal, I just literally had bad allergies all year round, I can rarely ever breathe out of my right nostril, so basically can't breathe through my nose, ever. I really needed the surgery so I could breathe, at least through one nostril at some point in time. So a week before the surgery, they had me go in for a pre-op. I don't really know the point of this. He just sort of checked my nose and was like, yep, still blocked. A week from then I went in. They told me after midnight of like Sunday, I was getting the surgery on Monday, and on Sunday they told me don't need anything past midnight. On a Monday my scheduled surgery was for 1:30. So I went in there at about like, I don't even remember what time, honestly, like 12:30 or 1. I had to wait in the waiting room for a little while before they took me back. They weighed me and then had me change into one of those super fashionable hospital surgery gowns, which I 10 out of 10 recommend if you're trying to pick up a boy or a girl. They're super cute. And then they make you wear these like hair band things, like not like a scrub cap like what a surgeon wears, but like what the nurses wear, like those just super cute hair things. And I recommend, if you are a person with long hair such as myself, you bring a hair tie, because I did not do this, and it was like, so I just sort of had to like ball my hair up in the back and then put it on, but then my hair is really heavy because I have a lot of it, and so it was like pulling down the little hair thing. What are those even called? Like, it's like what lunch ladies wear, kind of. Anyway, so it was like pulling it down. It was really annoying. So I recommend you bring a hair tie if you have long hair. So after that, they put an IV in my arm. Actually, before she put the IV in, she took my hemoglobin levels, which I don't think that's like normal for a nurse to do. She just did it for me for whatever reason. Anyway, it didn't hurt that bad. It was like a pinch, like right here in my hand, I think is where she did it. And just test my blood levels. I don't really know why she did that, but whatever. That's probably not gonna happen to you, but if it does, it doesn't hurt that bad. And then she gave me an IV in my like wrist, hand area, thankfully. Not like, I hate the IVs that go right here. I've had those too, and I hate those. So thankfully they didn't do that. So she stuck it right there, and then they just like I don't know what they were shooting in my arm before like the actual surgery. Like it was really cold, and I honestly I hated it so much because like you're already sort of like on edge because you're about to go into surgery, so your like nerves are a little bit heightened, and like so I could feel it like really bad, and it was really annoying, that like coldness at my arm. But they give you blankets and stuff, but it's weird. It's just a weird. Anyway, after that I just sort of like chilled back there with my parents and waited. At some point the anesthesiologist came back and talked to me for a little while. Didn't really say much, just came in and then left. And then my surgeon came by, like said hi, and then he left. So I was really just waiting there for a little while. Finally they wheeled me back to the OR, and when I was in there they had me like shimmy over to the OR table, and then they put the gas mask on me, and they were like just adjusting, like I don't even know what they were doing. I was just looking straight at the ceiling. They were like doing stuff to my arms, like adjusting me and stuff. And then they started putting the actual like stuff in my IV, and then the gas mask, like gas stuff. I don't know what they're putting in. Anyway, they started to put me to sleep, and they just told me to take some deep breaths. I took like maybe 7 before I was just out. Now I gotta say, one of the weirdest things about this whole experience was waking up after the surgery, because like it's like a slow process, and your nerves and like your feelings and everything are starting to come back, and you're sort of confused, at least I was, and where I even was. At first, honestly, when I first started to wake up, I was like, my eyes were so like my eyes were really heavy, and I was still really tired, so I didn't open my eyes for a while. So I was just like laying there thinking that I was at home, but knowing that something didn't feel quite right. So I lay there for a while thinking I was at home, and I couldn't really hear the nurses or anything yet because, you know, my senses were coming back slowly. So I waited for a while, and then I started to notice that my throat hurt like really bad. Like it was really painful to swallow. And my nose felt stuffy. It didn't really hurt because it was still pretty numbed, but it just felt really stuffed because they have these huge splints up in there. I'll insert a picture of what the splints look like. They didn't pack me. Some people have like tissue and stuff packed up in there. They didn't do that for me. They just did splints, which was enough, a pain enough. I promise you, I hated those things. I remember just thinking like, oh wait, yeah, I just had surgery. That's what happened. So like I was starting to remember, and then my eyes were still closed, but I finally opened them up and like was looking around, and I wear contacts, and I didn't have my contacts in, so everything was like really blurry. So I remember just like looking around like, okay, this is sort of odd. My parents weren't in there yet. My nurse was at the foot of my bed, like just charting or whatever they do. And finally she noticed I was awake, and she was like asking if I needed anything, and I was just kind of like, ugh. And it was an interesting experience. After a while they brought my parents back, but I was alone for a little bit, which was sort of annoying because I wanted like somebody in there with me, because it's like a weird experience, and honestly I just wanted to go home. So finally my parents came back. My dad took a picture of me looking half dead, and then they just talked to me for a little while, just like asked me how I was doing. I was basically like, I'm fine, my throat just really hurts. So then they brought me some water, which they like, if your place is anything like mine, they'll offer you like sodas and stuff. I do not recommend getting a soda. Just get water for your throat. It makes it feel better, cold water. And that helps me swallow a little bit. They asked me if I was ready to go home, and I was. I just wanted to get out of there. So I changed, like my mom was back there to help me, but I didn't really need help changing out of my gown and back into my clothes. I was pretty, like once I stood up, I was pretty okay. I was like kind of tired, but I wasn't like loopy. And so I got changed. They put me in a little wheelchair, wheeled me out to my car, and then we drove home. I went upstairs to my room and basically just laid in bed for the rest of the day because I didn't feel great. I started to hurt a little bit later, but they give you pain pills. So I took pain pills I think it was every 4 hours. I'm not a big pain pill person. So I took them for the first day when I got back, but then starting on the second day I didn't take them anymore. I just took a couple aspirins every once in a while if I really needed it. But you aren't really, at least I wasn't in that much pain, at least in my nose. For whatever reason, my throat hurt a lot and my gums hurt. I like watched other videos, like I said, and no one else talked about gum pain, and I even looked it up online, like hearing what other people have said about the different sort of pains. And throat pain's common, but gum pain is like unheard of. I had gum pain. I don't know why. Anyway, that was annoying. That was really like the worst pain that I had was in my gums. And my nose just sort of felt like just stuffy and weird. The splints are annoying. They're really big. They're much bigger than you think they are. And you have to use saline. I had to use it every hour for the week, and this is what mine looks like. It was the Arm & Hammer kind. and like you just, you know, stick it up your nose and you spray it. But it's sort of hard. You have to navigate it because there's like those splints in the way. So you sort of have to figure out like how to get it in there. Anyway, that wasn't really much of a pain. It was just something, like it didn't hurt or anything. It was just you had to remember to do it because you need to keep your splints cleaned or else it's just really gross and icky. So the first day was kind of sucky. I would say it's the second worst day. It's like the day after the surgery, or it's the day of the surgery. I remember just laying in bed. I was on my phone for a while. Like, I expected to sleep. Like, everyone expects you after surgery to just sleep the rest of that day, but I didn't. I really wasn't. I was, like, tired in the sense that I wanted to be sleeping, but I couldn't actually get to sleep. So, basically, I just was, like, texting a couple people for a couple of hours, and I wasn't hungry. I hadn't eaten in about 24 hours at this point, but I still wasn't hungry yet. And so I just was on my phone. I read a book or whatever I did for a while, and then I remember I had my phone in my hand and I was texting someone when I did finally fall asleep. So then I woke up with like my phone in my hand. Like an hour later, I only got like an hour nap, which kind of sucked because I wanted to sleep longer. But then my mom brought up like a slice of pizza. I will tell you, the second worst thing about this entire surgery, I could not taste anything. For the entire week that my splints were in, I could not taste anything. It was so annoying because I'm a girl that likes to eat. And I like tasting my food when I eat, but I couldn't taste anything. It's really annoying. But it was because the splints like completely blocked. I could not breathe through my nose the entire week because the splints, like it's like breathing through a straw in both nostrils, if you can imagine that. It's not fun. So I just breathe through my mouth like normal, which I'm used to. It kind of just felt like if you have a really bad cold and your nose is just stuffed up and you can't taste food right, sort of situation. If you've ever had one of those, it's like that for an entire week, except you don't taste food differently, you just don't taste food at all. At least for me. I don't know if that's a common thing, but I could not taste anything. I tried to sleep, but I think I slept like 3 hours that night. Normally I'll go to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning during the summer, because it's during summer right now, and I'll wake up at like 11, 12. I like went to bed who knows when, because I just couldn't sleep. I like off and on slept for a few hours, and then I got up, and then I woke up at 6 and then got up at 7 and went downstairs because I couldn't sleep. I heard that it was because of the pills actually that they gave me. They said that they can make people jittery sometimes. I thought that pain pills were supposed to like make you tired, but apparently they had the opposite effect on me and just made me jittery. So if pain pills do that to you too, if you're getting the surgery, then you're not alone. The second day was the worst day for me because it was such a long day because I woke up at 6 and I didn't go to bed until later that night. You just look ahead and you have so long it feels to go before you get those dang splints removed. That day I was still trying to adjust to the splints, trying to adjust to not being able to taste food, because that day I was actually eating food normally. The day before I wasn't, but that day I started eating normally again and I couldn't taste anything. The only good thing about the second day for me was that I did finally get a nap in, thankfully. But it was only an hour long because my dog started barking super loudly right beside me, woke me up, so that was annoying. But I did get to sleep for like an hour that day, which I think it was because of the aspirin, because that's when I switched over to the aspirin instead of the actual pain medicine. So that whole night I slept fine. Third day I did start to feel better. I was starting to get used to it. It wasn't as, it was still annoying, but it wasn't like as newly annoying because I was used to it now. Not being able to eat, or not being able to taste my food when I would eat still sucked, but that was what it was and I knew it was happening. So the fourth day though, that's when I did finally start to feel better, like better, not like the third day you feel decent because the second day you feel so bad, but the fourth day I really did, like, it was okay. So once you get to the fourth day, rest of it is pretty much a breeze. I mean, as much as it can be. I did discover, though, on the, like, day before I went to get my splints taken out, that I could taste. The one food that penetrated my taste buds was shrimp sauce, or white sauce, or whatever you call it when you get hibachi. That stuff, that is my ultimate tip for anybody getting the surgery if they can't taste. Get hibachi, get the dang shrimp sauce or white sauce or whatever, slather it all over your food. That's what you can taste. You can't taste the rice or the chicken or the shrimp or whatever you get, but you can taste the dang shrimp sauce, which is a good thing to taste. If I had to pick one thing, that's a good thing to taste. Monday, exactly a week from my surgery, that's when I got my splints taken out. I was sort of worried that it was going to be painful because they're so big, and I mean, the guy's going up in my nose to get them out. But it wasn't painful, it was just uncomfortable. What they did for me was they took this tool thing and they like widened my nostril with it. And well, first they had to cut the stitch that was holding them in place, but you can't feel that. Then they widened my nostril, and he took this like long metal stick thing, stuck it up in my nose to the tip of where the splint was, and just like whoop, like just right out. So it was a weird sensation with something coming out your nose like that, but it wasn't painful. And he did that for both sides. I do like just tell you that there's like gross like snot and junk that's like at the top that will come out with it. That's really gross. But if you use your saline and you clean out the actual splints, they're gonna be fine. But it's just the stuff at the top. So then they take like this little vacuum sucker thing and they suck up in your nose. I've seen people that say that they went super far back into their head and that was really uncomfortable. Thankfully, my surgeon didn't go that far back into my head. He just sort of stayed around the tips, thankfully, because I did not want him sucking back into my brains. So after those were out, I still couldn't breathe that well. I remember like right exactly when they came out, I took like this one like suck of air up my nose because finally it wasn't clogged anymore, but that was it, because after that I realized that my nose was still swollen, so I couldn't really breathe. So I've still, even now, been breathing out my mouth. That's probably why my voice probably sounds weird, because my nose is stuffy from the swelling and from allergies. So it's still not really paid off too much for me yet, but it's only been a little bit over a month, so I wasn't really expecting it to be great yet. My doctor told me that it would take about 6 months before the swelling would be completely gone. So 1 month down, 5 to go. And one last tip that I'm just randomly going to throw in. Right after you get the surgery, you bleed a bit out of your nose. So they have gauze right here. And in a lot of places, they give you this like strappy thingy that you put around your ears and it holds the gauze in place. But for me, I just had gauze taped up against my nose. And that way you don't have to deal with like the ear pain. Like apparently those strings around your ears like really hurt. So I recommend just taping gauze right here on your face instead of wearing that mask thing. So that's all the real detail that I could remember about the surgery that like some of the other people have covered in other videos, some of it they haven't. So basically that's just what I could recall. If this video helped you, please like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or concerns still, go ahead, feel free to comment. I will answer any questions that you have to the best of my ability. If you want any advice or something, to comment. I will try to help you as much as I can. So that's it. Bye!